Sorry.
Let's leave everything on.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
Don't back up on me now.
No, I wrote some
Don't
stuff
back up on me
down.
now, it's you.
Yeah, no, shade tree. And then we did, Shannon and I were gonna do climate smart. And then I was also gonna maybe do, be the liaison to the Millbrook Art.
Yeah.
It's 6 o'clock.
Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. This is the 2025 annual reorg meeting for the Village of Millbrook. We have a vacancy on the board due to me becoming mayor. And, it was a very close race in November, and Shannon won by ultimately 2 votes. So I think there's some precedent here as well. I decided to appoint Liz Sochi to the board for a 1-year term. So we're all excited to have her on the board and her experience. Welcome, Liz. And so let's do the oath of office for Liz. Go on up there.
All right. Alrighty. So you'll raise your right hand and you'll repeat after me. I, then state your name,
I, Elizabeth Sochi,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of
the duties of
trustee for the Village of Millbrook
trustee for the Village of Millbrook
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you.
And then we'll put this on.
Okay.
Perfect, thank you.
Congratulations, Liz.
Thank you.
Welcome. Clerk Witt, should we do the roll call?
Yes, sir. Mayor Calloway?
Oh.
Oh, so sorry.
Okay. I'm surprised I even caught
Everyone's
it.
amazed. I'm so sorry.
No, don't worry about it.
Mayor Doro?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Murphy?
Here.
Trustee Buckland?
Here.
Trustee Mawson?
Here.
And Trustee Sochi?
Here.
Thank you. We have a few vouchers that came in since our last meeting. I will pass them around. You can look. We have $35,000, $35 and $80.31 in the A fund expenses. Water fund $77.12, and the sewer fund $1,976.28. For a total of $37,133.71. Do I have a motion to approve the voucher totals as presented? All in favor? Thank you. Any opposed? All right, thank you. As we discussed last meeting, we have applied for and received Community Development Block Grant monies in the past. The past couple of years, we received money to work on the Franklin Avenue sidewalk project, which was very successful. And a requirement this year is to have a public hearing to gather input from the public. So I'd like to make a motion to open the public hearing. Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
The public hearing is now open. Does anyone in the public wish to speak on any ideas?
Are you asking for input on something that you're already proposing, or?
I don't have any proposals right now. We're asking for input.
Because
because I went online and up here, there's a resolution that specifically talks about a sidewalk project, so is that something you can provide some information on?
Yeah, so as part of the last project, we did the south side of Franklin from Front to Friendly. Prior administration and several members of this one would also like to continue that project in the north side. But we are obviously having a public hearing to hear other ideas if there are any.
Continue on.
Can I just say, so I don't know any of the details about the north side, but I would just advocate for saving as many trees as possible and moving around them.
I don't think there is any tree removal in this part of the project.
Excellent, I'm glad to hear that.
Mike, anything to add from your perspective?
Well, I'd just like to know when the deadline is for the submission of the application itself.
So the first step is a letter of intent, which is due in about 2 weeks, the first week of February.
Okay.
If that is accepted by Dutchess County, a full application is due in about another month in early March. So that's the timeline there.
All right.
If we were to get any money, no construction would start or begin probably this year. Probably the following year.
Soon.
But we can.
But we organize our pricing, we get contractors to bid on it, we get everything together and make sure we have the funds to do it.
And this program is for lower income, handicapped, other persons that have ADA requirements as well. Obviously, the sidewalks around Millbrook, especially in the business district on Franklin, are tough to move around sometimes. Baby carriages, wheelchairs, elderly people.
Yeah, and the concrete's worn out, there's some spots where they need to be replaced, there's cracks, there's things that need to be fixed. And if we can get the money through CDGB grant, then we'll attack that.
And no tree removal in this part of the project, which will make a lot of the public happy. So that's a good thing. Any other comments from the public?
Can you just clarify from where to where is the north? Is the scope, I guess?
Best case scenario would be this kind of the same front to Friendly.
Yes.
Originally,
It's not every panel. Not every panel will be replaced. If we were replacing every panel, some of them don't need replacing. Some of them are by trees that might not need to be replaced. We work around, So if we can keep the good ones and then replace the ones that need it all the way from Front Street all the way up to Friendly, then that would be a good part of Phase 3.
whatever panels that are heaved, whatever curbing that needs to be replaced, the crosswalk from the library to the other side of Franklin actually goes into a driveway, which is for Taylor Oil. There's a lot of big trucks that come out of there. It's a dangerous intersection. Our engineers have proposed moving that crosswalk to make it more accessible. So things like that would be done. Depending on the amount of money we would receive, it might lessen or enlarge the scope of the project. But best case scenario, Friendly to front. Mike?
You may need to think about Phase 3 and Phase 4 in the sense that, to my knowledge, and things may have changed, the engineers who did the analysis of what it would cost as an estimate came up with somewhere between $150,000 and $200,000 to do the full length that you're talking about from front to Friendly. And the parameters of the grants as existed in the past have pretty much limited to $100,000 per grant opportunity. So that's why the original proposal was in 4 phases, not 3. But that doesn't preclude you from being able to apply again in 2027 or whenever to get whatever stretch you might need to supplement whatever else.
Exactly. Even as far as the money we can stretch it as far as we can go with it, and then that'll be another phase, right?
Right, and to keeping in mind that once you commit to the project and you commit to a certain outline of the project, even though there's flexibility, then whatever is not covered by the $100,000 you might get has to be picked up by the village. So you just have to be careful. Tom Harvey is outstanding. He'll give you a lot of great guidance as to what you can do and not get yourselves, in a situation where you suddenly have monies you had to spend you weren't expecting to, that type of thing. That may happen anyway, but that's crucial that that you understand that, and also finally that make sure that when I spoke with Mike Karatikos and other people at the county who walked the north side with me, they had some different ideas. They were looking to expand originally what we were going to do, and my first response was, "Well, who's paying for it?" Because if you want to do a lot more, then it has to be in 2 phases, and we're going to need 2 grants, not 1 grant. So between Mike Karatikos and Tom Harvey, they'll give you a lot of good direction on where to go and how to be able to do it. And I also indicated to the county when we went over this at the end of the last project that we were not talking about taking out trees that in many cases, even some of them that were adjacent to areas that have been need, that we were able to do some areas by just keeping, by taking out the bricks, putting in whatever we could to level, and then put in concrete over it, which we may regret 5 years from now. No one can tell that until you see if the trees eat the sidewalk again. The county was not in favor of cutting down a lot of trees in the first phase anyway, so I don't think I have a problem with that.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah, those are all great points. This is a tight turnaround for these applications. So in the future, in the next couple of years, if the public has additional ideas or projects, please come forward and talk to a member of the board or myself, and we'll be more than happy to discuss it. But basically, the application portal is open in early January. Something is due in a month or 2, and so it's a really tight turnaround. So we really need to have our ducks in a row, which is why this was kind of, we inherited this project from previous administrations, and we're in support of it, I think. As such, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing if there's no other comments from the public. For a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Public hearing is now closed. As such, based on everyone's input, I'd like to make a resolution that we continue to apply for this application into the north side of Franklin from Friendly to Front Street. The roll call vote, Sarah?
Mayor Doro,
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Murphy,
Aye.
Trustee Buckland, Trustee Lawson,
Aye.
and Trustee Senchi. Aye.
So Peter, that letter of intent and then the application, is that what's in my inbox?
I've done a little work on it since I sent you
That's what that
what
is?
we done.
Your application.
Yeah. What we did last time,
Okay,
and it's the same questions for this year, so the questions aren't going to change. I have worked on it since I emailed everything to you. I'll send
So-
you.
so what, we obviously need to do the letter of intent first.
Yes.
Where is that as far as completion? Do we have a draft of
I
that?
have a draft.
You have a draft of that. Are you gonna send that letter into the,
I wanted to get your input.
okay,
I want to get former Mayor Colopy's input.
okay,
If former Trustee Herzog would like to see it as well, I can send it to you, Mike. It's basically going to be a very similar application as the south side, with instead of the south side, it's going to say north side.
right.
instead of tree removal, it's not gonna have tree removal.
Right.
We're gonna stress how the elderly, the handicapped, and lower income people utilize the business district especially.
Yeah, walking,
Which is why
walkable,
That's how you get the
walkable
grant,
city,
you know,
yeah,
that's how
money is really focused on that.
the ADA requirements and stuff like that,
Um,
ensure
So,
accessibility,
you have a hard
I have-
copy of that?
literally everything right here.
Okay,
You can go through it and take a quick look at it if you want. That was the one for the
South
south side,
right.
but we'll probably repeat this process.
okay, is it possible to make a copy, or, I'm just better with hard copies, particularly if I don't work on multiple screens at once.
More than happy to
And,
print stuff out for you too.
Yeah.
It's fine. You can do it after the meeting anyway.
yeah, I mean, it would
The
just,
current draft.
it's just easier to
Yeah,
sort
yeah,
of
no, I get it.
make,
I like hard copy.
yeah, and we can make comments on it, we can say,
Scratch on it.
eliminate this and add this,
Totally.
and that way we're all looking at the same thing.
Yep.
Same project.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
and then, yeah, we can get, same thing, if I make a copy of that, then I know what I'm, because if I'm looking at a screen, I'm looking at an application, but I didn't know exactly what
No,
that
not
was
really.
for. All right,
Good. I had a call with our engineer from Renia Engineering. They're out in Dover. I had a call with our engineer, Tom Harvey, who Deputy Mayor Murphy worked with closely on the other part of the project in the past. So he had some great ideas and great points. He also had other ideas for funding that we can look at, other grant opportunities down the road if this is not successful. I mean, hopefully it is, but we don't just stop if we don't get this particular grant. So we'll continue on.
and so Patrick, did you do the one last time?
Mike
Oh,
Herzog
Mike
set
did.
it up, yeah,
Okay,
yep, and we worked on it together. He was kind of showing me the ropes a little bit
Yeah.
through the process.
And if permission to speak, but
Of course.
basically, this folder is at your disposal.
Oh, okay.
This is the whole project right here, from 21 right on through, so.
Okay.
Very good, thank you.
All right,
I'm happy to
Yeah.
That's great.
leave this for you, and that's it. Any questions, call me.
okay.
Cool,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Mike.
And because it was successful in the past, I don't see a big reason to reinvent the wheel here on this
Totally.
application.
Well, we're kind of
So-
Right,
keep
keep
the
it simple,
process.
yeah, no, yeah,
I think we're in really good shape.
You know,
Yeah, keep it simple.
I just wanna understand
the process.
the process and exactly what that was. It seems like there's a learning curve.
There's learning curve.
There's a little bit of a learning curve, and I just want to make sure
It's
that what I
very
was
big.
seeing was this application for the the sidewalks, and not something else having to do with something else.
Just backing up to these vouchers really quick. Liz, for your benefit, these are all of the expenses that have come in since our last meeting. So you take a look, see what we're it gives you a good sense of how many bills we get and what they're for and what the amounts are for, and then we all just sign on the back. I'll pass this around. Yeah, same stuff, yep, but we'll sign this copy.
Yeah, you'll get an email.
Oh, right.
Like Nicole sends you,
Yes.
you'll get it before the meeting.
Yes, I know that. That's awesome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so now let's return to the reorg meeting. The first part of this is appointments. We already covered Elizabeth Sochi, she's filling in an unexpired term. I am reappointing Trustee Murphy as my deputy. We have a reappointee on the planning board, Joe Forte. He'll have another 4-year term. And on the ZBA, another 4-year term for Mike Flanagan, who both of these gentlemen have very graciously accepted to serve again. The village is very thankful and grateful for their service. I'd like to make a motion to accept the appointments that are listed above. Do I have a second?
Section.
All in favor?
Um,
Thank you.
My love.
Yes.
Yeah.
The oath of office for the planning board and zoning board appointments will be done later. Or quit. Mike Flanagan was actually tonight. Okay, next. Additional snow removal and highway support. As we've done in the past, the town of Washington will be our backup in that regard. discussed briefly, I believe, last meeting about a new hire that we have here in the village, Justin Noyes. He'll be working with us on a part-time basis as Deputy Building Inspector, Planning and Zoning Secretary, Fire Inspector, and Zoning Enforcement. He works closely with Ken McLaughlin, who is our Building Inspector. Ken also works in the village of Rhinebeck. So we signed an agreement last December, former Mayor Colby helped to create this agreement with Rhinebeck for a shared services agreement for Justin. And that'll be kind of renegotiated on an annual basis. So Justin is here once a week, usually on Fridays, and he's very helpful in regards to all these different areas. So if anyone has questions or concerns, or any of your constituents do, please direct them to Justin. He'll be very helpful in that regard. Our official newspaper is the Poughkeepsie Journal. That's a daily paper, as well as the Millerton News as a weekly paper. Our official depository is the Bank of Millbrook, and this requires a resolution. So whereas the Board of Trustees has determined that Village Law 4-412, Section 3, Subsection 2 requires the designation of banks or trust companies for the deposit of village monies, the Board of Trustees designates the Bank of Millbrook as a depository of all monies received by the village treasurer, clerk, receiver of taxes, and water and sewer bill managers. This resolution is effective immediately. In regards to designation of meetings, we will continue meeting the second Wednesday of each month at 6 p.m. We'll be meeting here in the Village Hall, or in the Millbrook Firehouse if needed, or via Zoom or virtual meeting if needed. If we need a second meeting for a particular month, it'll be the fourth Wednesday, same time, same place. Special meetings may be called by the mayor or two trustees acting together. Notification to board members should be given through personal contact by the village clerk to ensure adequate notification is provided. For meetings scheduled with less than 1 week advance notice, the village clerk must notify the news media to the extent practicable, preferably by email to the Poughkeepsie Journal. Notice shall also be posted at Village Hall, the village website, emails sent through Blackboard, Town of Washington Town Hall, and the Millbrook Post Office. For special meetings with more than 1 week notice, the news media must be contacted as above with at least 72 hours notice, and notices shall be posted at the above listed locations with at least 72 hours notice. Meetings may be canceled by the mayor following the notification procedures listed above. Persons scheduled to be on the agenda of a canceled meeting shall also be notified to the extent practicable by the village clerk. Rules of procedure of our meetings. The mayor presides at all Board of Trustee meetings. In the mayor's absence, the deputy mayor presides. In their absence, the trustee with the most years of service will preside. The first meeting of the month is designated as the business meeting and will include departmental reports. Minutes will be taken by the village clerk. They must include attendance, a record of communication presented to the board for consideration, all reports presented, and the outcome of voting. Minutes must also contain time of adjournment and signature of the clerk. Each member of the Board of Trustees has one vote. The mayor may vote on any item, but must vote in the case of a tie. A vote taken upon any question will be taken by yea or aye and nay. The agenda will be prepared by the mayor, and trustees may add agenda items before or during the course of the meeting with a motion and a second. The agenda will be prepared no later than by the Monday before the meeting will be posted on the website that Monday. Motions may be made by any member of the board and require a second in order to be considered for a vote. As per state guidelines, in-person public participation will be at all village meetings as an agenda item, as well as at the mayor's discretion. Speakers must be recognized by the presiding officer and must observe the commonly accepted rules of courtesy, decorum, dignity, and good taste. The rules of procedure may be reviewed and amended as needed throughout the course of the year. Amendments require a majority vote from the board. Questions? Chugging along here. Advance notice of claims. This is another required resolution. Whereas the Board of Trustees has determined to authorize payment in advance of audit claims for public utility service, postage, public utilities, medical and dental premiums, copier lease, cell phone, credit card, and monthly ambulance coverage. Whereas all such claims shall be presented at the next regular meeting for audit, and whereas the claimant and officer incurring or approving the same shall be jointly and severally liable for any amount the Board of Trustees disallow. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees authorizes payment in advance of audit of claims for postage, public utilities, medical and dental premiums, copier lease, cell phone, credit card, and monthly ambulance coverage, and all such claims shall be presented at the next regular meeting for audit, and the claimant and officer incurring or approving the same shall be jointly and severally liable for any amount disallowed by the Board of Trustees. This resolution shall take place immediately. All vendors must receive authority from the mayor or deputy mayor if any work performed on behalf of the village will result in additional labor charges. In addition, invoices for chemicals and materials purchased on behalf of the municipality must include the original invoices and item pricing. Mileage allowance. Resolution to whereas the Board of Trustees has determined to pay a fixed rate for mileage as reimbursement to village officers and employees who use their personal vehicles while performing their official duties. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees will approve reimbursements to such officers and employees at the IRS current standard rate per mile. This resolution shall start immediately. Attendance at school and conferences. Attendance by any trustees or village official at annual training and conferences must be approved in advance by the Board of Trustees on an individual basis with as much notice for consideration as possible. Webinar, virtual trainings are considered and recognized acceptable forms of training. I'd like to make a motion to accept the resolutions and general procedures listed above. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, policies. As you can see, we have a lot of different policies here. All of these policies are on the website. The police department has been engaged in an ongoing project through Lexipol, which is a vendor that helps various municipal police departments enhance and establish policies and procedures. So Lexipol has been helping the chief to do that. And so they're still in process there. Chief will come to us when he has decided more policies are ready for our approval. And so we'll adopt and approve them as they come to us and for the board. Everything else is been adopted some time ago and again available on our website. Any questions there?
How much do they have left?
Good question. I don't know. Well, we should ask the chief the next time he's in.
Yeah, because Vicky and him were working on it together.
We did a lot last year.
I know they tackled a lot.
I think you might recall. I think he might even wanted to make some changes
He said that.
to policies that were adopted prior to his arrival.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd rather him do it slowly and do it right than to rush through them.
And is that something that, again, is open to the public?
No.
No.
That would be,
Policies.
no, I'm just, yeah, that's why I'm
It's
asking.
the standard. It's like your standard that all cops we should have for like it's a standard code of code, right? That
Yeah,
all
it's
police
kind of
officers
thing,
that
right,
need to
right.
have and go through one
Yeah.
day to sign.
It'll be available to us,
Right.
but the general public, no. But a member of the board, let's ask Chief when he comes in, because former trustee Contino was helping him develop.
It's like guidelines
It is,
to make
exactly.
sure that everyone stays in line with the guidelines so that everyone uniformly approaches certain.
And by everyone, we mean police officers.
Police officers.
And it also it allows us it alleviates us if we have that in writing
Right,
somewhere.
yeah.
It takes the liability away from us, or
You
at
know,
least
it'll
some
be
of
like,
it.
well, you were supposed to do.
Yeah, if you
six.
followed the procedures, then the
Yeah, no,
liability-
I get it, I just wanted, so that would be in, yeah, okay. But that's, the public
Previous-
does not get to weigh in on.
No.
And previously, we had no standard, like we had like a small handbook.
Yeah.
Right.
So this
It wasn't actually up to date.
Right,
and
There are
right.
those gaps that
Yeah.
Yep.
Needed to be filled.
need to be filled. We have adopted some already, and as we adopt them, the chief distributes them to all of the officers, all the employees, and they have to attest that they've read it and they understand it. So they're doing it piecemeal as well. So they
Oh,
don't
that's
just
good,
have
so
to.
they're getting it as it's coming out,
Yeah,
as it's
exactly.
being accepted, that's good.
It's gonna be a rather
Because
large
it's a lot,
document when
yeah.
done. and
Yeah, I know,
There's a
so
lot of
it's
rules.
good that you're.
To dump it all at once would be very difficult for employees, so that's why the piecemeal approach, I think,
That's a
has
great
been
idea.
working.
Absolutely.
So more to come on that. Code of ethics, the one policy I'll just, I'll flag a couple policies. The code of ethics, there's a form in your packet. These need to be filled out annually by all members of the board. I ask that you all fill this out and return the form to the clerk.
The conflict of interest one.
Correct.
Thank you.
And then sexual harassment training. It's a New York State requirement that all employees complete annual training in regards to sexual harassment. Many of you might already be doing it for another job. I know I have to do it. I always just provide a little whatever certificate that I receive to the clerk. So please either provide Sarah with that evidence, or do we offer it here
Last year we
for
did.
employees?
We did. Remember Tim went through it, all of us with it? Does ours still, do we have to do it again or?
We should do it, it needs to be done annually.
Okay, so yeah, we'll have to do it again. Maybe we should organize it or we just go through it together again and we take that.
Any plan to do it anytime soon, Sarah, or when did we do it last year? Do you remember?
I remember we all sat here and took a little course,
Yeah, I think we offered
video.
like 2 days or a day
Yeah.
away or something like that. I was kind of hoping maybe a trustee can help
Yeah.
me with.
Organizing it, getting it together.
That would be great.
Yeah, I have a DVD from like 1984.
Yeah,
that-
that's I remember that's what we
It's
watched.
actually still in compliance, so we can do that. We do have like NYMER when we can do it online, but no one really did it. So, I mean, the online portion, they did come to the DVD
Yeah.
because it's so awesome. So we could definitely do something like that.
If anyone has any ideas, you don't have to raise your hand now, please reach out to Sarah and we can set something up for at some point this year to complete that.
Okay,
I liked it going through it all together. Last year was just easy and quick. It didn't take that long and it was like.
Well, then everybody's on the same page.
Exactly
Right, we can probably give we do a sexual harassment training
Oh.
every year.
Right.
And I certainly have that certificate, but I do think that there's something to just everybody's on the same page.
Sure.
Can't hurt.
No?
I'll make a motion that we accept the above mentioned policies. Do I hear a second?
You got a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to committees. For the complete policy on each committee, please visit the village website. First, the Code of Ethics. So we have a corresponding Board of Ethics, and they shall have the power and duties prescribed by Article 18 of the General Municipal Law and any Code of Ethics adopted pursuant to such article under the rules and regulations as the board may prescribe, like our own Code of Ethics. In addition, the Board of Ethics may make recommendations with respect to the drafting and adoption of a Code of Ethics or amendment thereto upon request of the Board of Trustees. So, former Trustee Herzog was formerly a member of this board, along with Reverend Calkins and John Dukes. This board has never met, so I would like a volunteer to sit on this board, preferably from one of the new trustees.
I'll sit on the board.
Thank you. Trustee Buckland, okay, so we were going to add Trustee Buckland to that. Similarly, we also have a community review board. This review board would be comprised of the village's police chief or alternate senior officer, a village board member, and an appointed resident of the village. This board will meet as necessary to review any complaints, but at least once a year to make recommendations to the village board for changes in policies or procedures. A formal complaint form has been created for use to register any complaints by the deputy mayor. So the current members are Chief Dorkin, Mike Murphy, who's a resident of the village, and it was, again, former trustee Herzog. So, this board has also never met. Can I have a volunteer to sit on this board? Thank you, Trustee Sochi. Okay. Now to some more exciting things. The Shade Tree Commission.
Peter, do you want, I mean, if they've never met, do we want to
I think
encourage that or let?
for now, I think we have enough on our plates
Yeah,
probably
okay.
to
We'll be busy.
Yeah.
unpeel another onion, but
Yeah, no, got it.
you have 4
Just thought I'd
Amazing.
ask.
4 years to tackle any changes to
Okay,
the
no, that's fine.
the Board of Ethics. But if something does come up from a conflict or ethical standpoint, I think that's a great opportunity to meet.
Yep,
To my knowledge, since I've been here, I don't think there's been even a notion of kind of an issue
right.
like that. So which is good, which is why we have a forum as well. So, but not saying it can't happen. Okay, the Shade Tree Commission. The general responsibilities of the Shade Tree Commission members are to serve in an advisory capacity to the village board, to assist the village highway superintendent in management of the tree inventory, to plan and conduct Arbor Day activities, and to participate in special projects such as tree plantings. Currently, the members are, again, former trustee Herzog is stepping off the commission. We have Kevin McGrain, Eldar Shumanoff, Cecilia Colopy, Ethan Kelly, our village highway super, has he decided to join the commission, which is great news. And Julia, you have also volunteered to sit on this commission, which does meet fairly regularly. So we appreciate your service here.
and those meetings are called by the trustee or?
I believe, Mike, you will be the chair as
Okay,
the
okay.
trustee representative on the commission.
So how often did you meet and how did you?
Well, basically, we try, for the Shade Tree Commission specifically, the first part of the year, winter into spring is one of our busiest times, because what happens is you have to prepare for any Arbor Day activities you want to have at the end of April. You do your spring tree plantings around the village to replace as many as budget will allow.
In coordination with Ethan, obviously.
Yes,
Yeah.
in coordination with Ethan, and so you've got a lot of things that have to get taken care of with planning involved. So your first meeting should definitely be no later than mid-February, and then get everyone together and you start looking over things like where do we want to plant trees, how much money do we have to work with, do we need to go out and look for donations from residents, Tribute Gardens has been generous in the past, sometimes giving us money to plant trees, etc. So you go through that, and also you coordinate with the school, because we have a tradition that Elm Drive kids help us plant trees every year, usually on a site adjacent to the school where they participate. And there's, in the past few years, we've had one individual who's come forward who's a certified arborist who's donated a tree, Dennis Gendron, and he's kind of been the kind of leading the pack in terms of he loves it. He teaches the kids how to plant a tree. They each take a little shovel and put some dirt on the tree, and
Is that around, somewhere on the property of Elm Drive or?
well, or if we planted by the tennis court, there's a tree right up in the front out here we put in 3 years ago.
Okay.
And so there are opportunities to put it in a number of places, but we want to make sure we can get what amounts to almost the whole school to be able to come out and still settle in a place. So it's pretty much Elm Drive or,
Is there any thought of and I know we need to move on to other things, but, like native plants versus non-native plants, has that been a topic?
It hasn't been a topic we try to do for a variety of things. You don't wanna put something else other than just maple trees on Maple Avenue, or
Right.
elm trees on Elm Drive. You wanna get a variety of species. And since Dennis has contributed the trees, is generally, what do you think would be appropriate and what do you have? So,
Okay,
we could work with him to be able to do that.
Okay.
And just finally and lastly, I've spoken to Ethan, and Ethan is very good at being able to deal with trees. He wants to be able to prune more, have the highway guys prune more, take care of small trees that might have to come down instead of sending them out on a limb and things of that nature. So he would be someone who you wanna have a private conversation with
yeah,
and
that's
sit
what I was
down
thinking,
and,
maybe that's the first step.
yeah, because in the past, Bob Colacola would come to the mayor and say, I got a tree I'm gonna come down, and he would say, okay, fine, whack it, and that was that. Now there's a whole tree planting procedure and tree removal procedure that was developed in the late teens, and that's a procedure that you have to follow.
Sure.
So,
Thanks, Mike. I mean, yeah, I think native plants are a great idea to Mike's point, to the extent that, you know, whatever local diseases might be around, they're suitable for an urban environment, salt tolerant.
Exactly.
So all those
Road,
things I know are
Yeah, no, and
considerations
again, it
for
doesn't
the
have to
commission.
be, yeah, it doesn't
Do-
have to be the sword that we die on, but I think that it's something we wanna keep in
Definitely.
mind.
Well, like root balls and stuff like that. Some will heave sidewalks if the roots are exposing the ground,
Yeah.
but some will
No,
not
it's
leave,
just something
you
we
know.
need to do in a thoughtful way.
And
So-
trees are a very sensitive subject
Clearly.
around here, so let's just keep that in mind as well.
yeah, and yet the last thing you need to be aware is under the procedures,
Yeah.
if the tree if a tree is recommended, let's say a village resident calls and says, I've got a dead tree in my front yard and it's within 6 feet of the road, which means it's village tree,
Yeah,
then every person on the Shade Tree Commission has to come out, look at it, make sure that they're in agreement that essentially it does need to come down, and if there's any controversy involved, then you call Dennis or you call Brad Roller, who are both certified and will come out and give you a professional assessment free. Okay, and then you proceed based on that. So it's a year-round type of, that's the one committee where you're gonna have people working all year for that reason.
and so I would, essentially what happens is I'm looking through my village email and there's an email that says that somebody's got a tree issue, and then I arrange to get everybody together and at their property and take a look at the tree.
They can do it individually if they, you don't have to
Okay.
have the whole group at once in sync, but everyone's gotta look at the tree.
Yay.
And I'm sure Mike would be more than happy to, continue to assist and kind of
Excellent.
guide
Okay.
you.
Yep.
The last thing I'll say on this is that we did approve new procedures late last year to reduce the circumference, I guess, or whatever the diameter from the middle of the road, to reduce the amount of trees that village taxpayers have to take down, because we've spent a lot of money in the last couple of years taking down really big trees that were on people's personal property. So
Oh,
we
yeah.
reduce that amount of space that is in the village right of way,
Right.
if you will.
Right.
So that'll hopefully cut down on costs of taking down trees, and hopefully we can use that money to plant more trees.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, that does it for committees. I'd like to make a motion to acknowledge the above mentioned committees and the committee members. Do I hear a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on to fees. We updated some fees last year for the building department, trying to come into the 20th century here with some better fees. The fee schedule for the building department, which was introduced in December of 2023, was approved. These dates right? This was approved last year.
Yeah.
Okay, so this was already approved last January.
Yeah.
It's on the website with the building permit application. Short-term rentals, these applications are valid for 2 years. Online application submissions receive a 10% discount for year one. Year one is $500, includes a fire inspection. It is cheaper with the online application submission. And that fee is due with the application submission. Then year 2, $500 again, plus the fire inspection fee for a total of $650. Excuse me, fee is within 365 days of approved application. Please submit a check made payable to Village of Millbrook in the amount of $450 with the application. Year 2 payment in the amount of $650 is due within 365 days of approved application. Village of Millbrook water and sewer rates. Water rates were updated during the 2023-2024 budget meeting public hearing. Sewer rates were updated in the resolution 2021-001 and then updated by resolution 2024-005. VRI is designated as water superintendent, superintendent of sewers, and whenever referenced in the village code. So for village residents, the rates are $7.50 for water and $9.90 for sewer. That's based on 1,000 gallons of consumption. And the town residents is higher, $10.86 for water and $9.90 for sewer. Same for sewer. Unmetered sewer customers. The board approved a $12.15 per quarter increase for a total annual bill of $68.85. That's on a quarterly basis, excuse me, starting with the July 2023 bill and an additional $12.15 quarter increase bill starting with the July 2024 bill. There are some sewer customers outside of the village that are unmetered, so that's how that comes into play.
Just sewer, because waters only have the meter, if you knew that. Like, so the water going in only has a meter going into the building.
Yeah.
So typically they look at your water meter,
Yeah.
but if you only have a septic coming out, then you have no water meter going in. That's why I say they have no meters.
Thank you, Deputy, as our water and sewer expert on the board. We're lucky to have you. Okay, water and sewer connections. This was adopted by Resolution 2021-13, and then amended on January 11th, 2023. The application fees for village and town. For water, $500 application fee with a $500 bond. Sewer, same thing, $500 application fee and $500 bond. There is an escrow of $5,000 required to cover village-related and VRI-related inspection fees, engineering fees, and administrative fees. Those amounts are to be determined. And each application requires a stamped Dutchess County Health Department approved site plan. So more to come on water and sewer rates as we continue to discuss the pending wastewater treatment plant upgrade, which is, as we talked about a little bit briefly, it's a rather large project. And some of these rates may need to be adjusted in the future to cover some of those expenses.
But this is for new construction or somebody who's putting in.
That last bit, yes, a new, totally new
$500
connection
for a new connection, yeah.
to
For
tap,
sewer and water.
to tap the mains.
Yep.
Filming fees. Fees will be based on the scope of the project.
So for example, if they're requiring like police,
Mm-hmm.
we'll factor that in for like police fees. If it's just like a day shoot, just walking around, then we might not charge anything, we might just need a form filled out,
Mhm.
basically. That's what we would have.
In case HBO's back in town.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That was a good
Woody
one.
That was
Harrelson.
cool.
I never actually watched that.
Neither does,
Me neither.
no.
I didn't either.
What was it?
HBO series was
Yeah.
filmed at the diner.
I forget what
They
it's
used the
called.
diner.
Lighthouse Plumber.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
right, yeah, HBO.
Watergate break-in.
Oh, okay.
Violation fees. Brush pickup fees will be determined on site by the public works supervisor, that's Ethan Kelly. Leaf pickup fees determined on site by Ethan as well. Just as a heads up to the new trustees, we always have issues with, as you've probably seen on the village website and newsletters, we have certain periods for leaf pickup, Christmas tree pickup,
Right.
Brush pickup.
and almost every single time there's someone who
Takes advantage.
tries to take advantage and they're outside of these periods. So we've been very lenient in the past, reminders, please
That
move
they
it.
still have to pick it, and obviously it still has to be picked up, but it's beyond the date. Or they're adding stuff from.
It could be like
Brush
a
from
day
the
beyond the
yard.
date,
It could be
or it
like-
could be six, it's Christmas tree pickup and there's brush outside in January, and brush pickup is nowhere near
Right.
in January. And the trucks are not equipped to pick up brush, which is the biggest, it's not just like a number that we just,
Also, we're not out on
They're not
limb,
equipped to
you
do
know.
Right.
We're just a village. We have one truck and one guy. If they're going to take advantage by taking down, they're clear cutting their yard and then putting
Right.
it on the street. That's not
Not
acceptable.
okay, right.
Yeah.
so we've been very lenient in the past, and I'm sure if there's certain situations we can be understanding. But it's up to Ethan to determine if, they can do it as the village, or if they're not equipped to do it, like they have plows in the trucks now and salt, then they would have to hire a contractor to pick up the leaves, the brush, whatever it is, and then we would bill that to the homeowner.
Yeah.
So that's just a little color there. I'd like to make a motion to accept and implement the above mentioned fees. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Thank you. Okay, our fiscal year runs to May 31st, is that right?
Yep.
So we don't run on a calendar year, our fiscal year is not on the calendar year. So every year, there's always invoices that come in after the fiscal year closes, which is always a little problematic. So we would like invoices to come in as soon as they can, and as soon as they can after the fiscal year closes. But I'll note that all invoices are to be honored and paid by July 2025 for fiscal year 2025-2026. To close the year sooner and get the annual financial report completed in a timely manner. We have to go through all these village employees, or you can
No,
all
that's
see
listed,
who are all of our, both full-time and part-time village employees, the mayor, the board, Sarah and Nicole in the clerk's office, Darren, Ethan, and Jeff in the village garage and highway, Chief Dworkin, several part-time police officers, Sergeant Witt, who is the only full-time, police officer, Ken McLaughlin is our building inspector and zoning administrator, and Matt Hurst, he's a per-day laborer. He's the one that plows all of our sidewalks. He's also the laborer of the park super at Tribute Gardens. He does a great job on these sidewalks. So you'll see that, should Justin be on this list, or we are,
He isn't an employee of ours.
right, that's why he's not, okay.
Yeah.
Technically, that other Justin, Ken's assistant, is actually a Village of Rhinebeck employee who we contract with. So that's why he's not listed here.
Oh, okay.
It's just a quick list of 2025 potential projects. Number one, we have the CDBG sidewalk repair project, which is ongoing as we've discussed. The wastewater treatment upgrade project, also ongoing. We've discussed that. We'll continue to discuss that. Some things that, we've been thinking about for a while now, not just this month. The village hall, upgrades, restoration, any kind of fixes that we can think about around here, both on the outside and inside, including the gym, which is.
When we're done, can we take a look?
Definitely.
I haven't, no doubt, I haven't been in there since my kid had his failed attempt at basketball many years ago.
That's where I had mine.
It's a
He
great.
got the ball and immediately he was like, I don't know, don't get it.
It is a great gem that I think we can all think about collectively. If there's any community members, please come to us with ideas. I know we used to work together, more closely together with the town of Washington rec department for various things there.
Yeah.
I went to the after school program there. We have Boy Scouts here.
Well, and that's also, I was thinking with the Millbrook Arts Group, that's an obvious thing. So I just, in the last month, I went to Falls Village And they've got a little community center where they do an open mic night and they have, just people do whatever, they come.
Seems like the Thorn Building's going in that path.
Yes, but not ready yet,
Yeah, no, not ready yet.
and not ready probably for
A little bit.
a little bit. Right, no, I get that, and this could be sort of our incubator.
Temporary, yeah.
And then, I was just saying, I went to the Copake Grange, and the Copake Grange has got open mic nights the first Saturday of every month, and then they do a seasonal dance party. And it doesn't take a lot, it's all bring your own.
Yeah.
You can charge $5 for people, and then you can, give that to the Millbrook Arts Group or to fixing up the village hall. I mean, there's a lot of ways that we could make the village more,
Interesting, cool ideas.
yeah.
Yeah.
We could have game night.
We used to have game night here.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot, we just gotta, let's take a look and see what it would be.
I
Where I
think
watched
so.
Frozen with my daughter. Remember Frozen? You go over on,
Yeah.
we had blankets all over. That was-
Yeah.
that
In the
was
gym?
fun.
Really?
Cool.
Yeah.
And now the library has picked up some of that, which is great.
Yeah.
Which is great. And.
Firehouse too, a little bit.
Yeah,
With bingo night and all
yeah. The more we can have going on in the village and as you
More
say,
people
pulling
spending
people,
Yep.
pulling people into town, going to the restaurants.
that. Exactly.
Oh, good ideas, and just things we have to think about. Two things that come to mind. Obviously, the main issue, which has been an issue the last couple of years, which was why there was a breakdown with Town of Washington Rec, is, especially during the winter, is heating that gym. It's obviously a big. We'll see it. It's a huge room. It's very expensive to heat.
I have somebody
So that's an issue.
I had somebody that'll come and look at it for free. Just to go over it and maybe come up with ideas and
Cool.
like I already talked to him about it.
Good. And then just
Yeah, we can be smart about it, so we don't have events in
Right.
there now.
yeah.
Everyone's hibernating.
No, great ideas. And one thing that's not here, kind of a similar, in the similar vein, is that a lot of communities that I've seen, neighboring communities, Stanfordville, Pine Plains, Rhinebeck, just to name a few, all have community gardens. I think somewhere on the Village Hall parcel would be a great spot for a community garden. We could kind of similarly with the shade tree, get kids involved. I know some communities rent plots, community groups get involved, sell produce at the farmer's market. We're a farming community, so having a garden here I think makes a lot of sense. Would take some work to get there, maybe some donations as well. I know Ethan, and the Village Highway crew could do a lot of the work ourselves, keep it in-house, build the beds. Not a huge ask. So
Sort of fence of deer fence around it.
exactly.
Yeah.
So ideas around that from the trustees, from the public, please come forward, as well as the Village Hall. I think that kind of coordination and community would be great. So that's some of the things I'm thinking about. If the trustees have other ones, please continue to kind of come forward here in a meeting, privately to Pat or myself. We're all available, I think. And that, I think, does it for the public portion of the reorg meeting. I would like to have a quick executive session after we conclude the public portion here. The next meeting is January 10th.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I didn't look at it. I clearly missed that as well.
February 12th.
February 12th, our regularly scheduled monthly business meeting. Okay, so I'll make a motion to adjourn the public meeting and to enter executive session. Do I have a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Sir, you can stay for this.